Hello, great people. There's a video in public space of APC talks that were arrested within the premises of the Lagos State House of Assembly. Now, Nigerians have been expressing shock. Some are saying serve them right, while some are saying, well, deal with them mercilessly. Now, the video, you are seeing it on the screen right now, but I can assure you that what you are watching on the screen is not the full gist of that video. The gist in this video is in the voice, and I will leave you in a moment to hear what the talks that were in the Black Maria, what they are saying. But let me just take a moment to put some context to it so that you understand it very well. You will recall that the immediate past speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Mudashiru Obasa, a six-term member in Lagos State House of Assembly and speaker of the State House of Assembly for the past 10 years, was unceremoniously removed by his colleagues over alleged financial infraction and misappropriation. Now, during the impeachment proceedings, Obasa is reportedly not in Nigeria, but his colleagues decide to remove him. And in the course of that, some talks, allegedly from the Agege side, which is the constituency of Obasa, decide to be hanging around in the State House of Assembly. And police pick them up. And when the police pick them up, the talks decide to react and they decide to identify themselves. The interesting thing is that they were declaring all the loyalty in this world for APC, and they were singing "On Your Mandate, We Shall Stand." Let's take a moment to watch the video. Then when we come back, we'll be discussing the implication of this for politics and happenings in the polity, and we'll be drawing comparison in other states of Nigeria, particularly a state being governed by the opposition, and my instance will be Rivers State. We'll be looking at the involvement of talks in our politics and the implication of it. Let's watch the video, then we come back for these discussions. Let's watch it.
The Chairman is here. APC leader is here. APC youth, strong and reliable. Is our time. APC youth, is our time. On your mandate, on your mandate, on your mandate, we shall stand. On your mandate, we shall stand. On your mandate, we shall stand. On your mandate, on your mandate, on your mandate, we shall stand.
There you have it. You just watch the video of the APC. They call themselves youth, but in the true sense of it, these are talks, because if this is what we can have as the youth of a ruling party in Nigeria, then that means that our politics leave more to be desired. Then when political parties in Nigeria, when they say youth, what do they mean? I'll get to that in a moment, but let's make some important points as we get to that video. First, you want to ask yourself that what are talks doing within the premises of the National Assembly, of the State House of Assembly, not outside the gate. They were arrested within the premises. So you want to ask yourself that the State House of Assembly is the symbol of the sovereignty of Lagos State. The State House of Assembly is what differentiates democracy from autocracy. There are different forms of government, which is another analysis for another day. But in the life of Nigeria since independence, we have only practiced just two, which is autocracy, or if you like, the military regime or dictatorial system of government, and democracy. Now, the difference between democracy and autocracy is the existence of the legislature, whereby they bring in checks and balances to check the works of the executive. Now, what are talks doing in the symbol of democracy? The symbol of Nigeria's democracy, the symbol of Lagos State democracy, is that State House of Assembly. What are talks doing there? How did they gain entrance into the premises of the State House of Assembly in the first place? So you want to imagine that how can talks in a cosmopolitan state like Lagos, that the population of Lagos is more than that of some African countries. Lagos is richer than some African countries, and talks are parading themselves within the symbol of the sovereignty of the state. And you see, one thing we need to know is that there are some places that are not meant for some people. You see, the motor park is meant for thugs, hooligans, scallywags, street urchins, every kind of person. Even with profound respect, the church, the mosque, is meant for everybody. because God welcomes everybody. But state institutions, there are some institutions that are sacred. For instance, you cannot see the talks hovering around and constituting nuisance within the premises of a place like the Supreme Court. That will be a recipe for anarchy. So, what are talks doing there? And these places, there are places that talks should not find their way into. But why won't talks be there? When talks are stakeholders in the emergence of some of our political office holders, in the sense that how will you stop talk from accessing the National Assembly when some of the people in the National Assembly, it is the influence of those talks that brought them to power, not the vote of the people. And it is across Nigeria. Some people believe in talk. Talks usually are more influential in the electoral process than even the ordinary legitimate voters, because it is the talks that can snatch ballot box. It is the talks that can bring out megaphone in broad daylight and say, if you don't vote for so party, don't come out to vote. So the talks are instrumental. They are not only instrumental, but they are even stakeholders. And that's why you see that something that you contributed in producing, definitely there are some form of effrontery that you would have. And that is why you can see those talks in the premises of the State House of Assembly when the legislator want to conduct an important legislative business. Talks are hanging around the State House of Assembly. And if they have not been having access before, then they won't have that effort. So there have been a condition precedence before they can have access, before they can have that effrontery to be in the State House of Assembly. And the talks are allegedly from Agege, loyal to the impeached Speaker Mudashiru Obasa. But this is not the first time, and perhaps Lagos learned from what happened at the national level. And I'll give you an instance. You will recall that Omo Agege, or I think they call it Omo Agege, Omo Agege, during the Saraki Senate presidency, that Omo Agege allegedly led talks into the chambers of the Nigerian Senate. You can imagine, well, maybe because I'm a political scientist and I know the implication of this thing, but I don't think you need to be a political scientist. Just imagine that the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria was invaded by talks, and that talk and those talks were led into the chambers by a senator, allegedly. You can imagine that alone, that act alone is an offense that should ordinarily warrant life imprisonment. If Nigeria were to be a sane country, it should warrant nothing less than life imprisonment. That you lead talks into the chamber of the National Assembly, the Senate. No, that leaves more to be desired. So these ones, they've not even carried the mace. During Omo Agege's time, they carried the mace and went away with it. And should I shock you? Omo Agege, that happened during Buhari's first time, during the Saraki Senate presidency. At the second time of Buhari, Omo Agege was rewarded with the position of the Deputy Senate President. The Deputy Senate President, that's what they reward Omo Agege with for that particular action. So you can now imagine that the video that you are seeing on the screen, the implication is that don't write off anybody. Some of these talks that are put inside the Black Maria, don't be surprised if one or two of them are given tickets tomorrow and they become honorables themselves on the floor of the State House of Assembly. That is how low the kind of politics that we practice. That is what we have. And the reason why talks are having such effrontery is because many politicians have faith in talks than due process or even the law itself. Many of these politicians that you see around, they have faith in talks than due process. The due process of electioneering is for you to vote and be voted for. And if people vote for you, you rule. But they don't even have faith that you will vote for them. Even if they've campaigned and they've told the state, they will still empower talks to snatch ballot box, to intimidate people in the stronghold of the opposition. So you see that most of these politicians, they don't have faith in the process. They have faith more in talks than even due process and the law, particularly on election and governance matters. Now, when you hear APC youth, or when you hear youth of political party in Nigeria, what you will think you will hear is that you will hear, maybe you will see many people that are, reasonable, that perhaps they are lawyers, engineers, maybe undergraduates, people that are kind of like doing well in life, people that are rational thinkers. Should I shock you? The truth is that when you hear youth, whether APC youth or PDP youth, what you should be expecting are largely area boys. And in fairness to these parties, there are some technocrats, there are some great guys in these parties, both APC and PDP, but majority of the people that they call youth are more of private militias, are more of thugs, are more of hooligans, scallywags, ragtags. Those are the kind of people that most of these parties parade as you. You can hear those talks say, oh, we are APC youth, we are APC youth. If you check APC well, you find doctors, you find that, but just few of them. And the reason why that is the case is that you are watching me, you are also guilty because you are not participating well in politics. So if you are not participating, if na talk show up, of course they will embrace them. So if more professionals begin to show up and participate in politics, then these guys will begin to they will be relegated. So we shouldn't have much involvement of talks in the election. Now, what this thing that you see in Lagos State, if you go to Rivers State, that's the same thing that you will find there because Rivers is governed by PDP. So it's not like an APC thing. It is an APC and a PDP thing. That when they say youth, sometimes you even find old men with pot belly. They'll be calling themselves youth. When they say youth, what will you find or what do you expect to see? Father of aged children. Those are the people that are calling themselves youth. These people that you hear their voice, some of them, do they sound like youth? You can imagine when they say APC youth sometime in Lagos State, and if you go to Rivers, I'm sure the situation is the same. Sometimes what you find is jobless men all over the place. So what we need is to begin to restructure our political system so that we can have good governance. Because when politicians know that they cannot beat the process, it is the vote of the people that will bring them into office and power. They have no choice than to abide by the will of the people and to create good governance for the people so that they will have a good scorecard, and the scorecard will be what will convince people to cast their vote for them. Do your part. I must do my part. The political office holders must also do their part. Then we will have a great country. It's been an interesting time with you on this episode of Politics with Dr. Omosola Deji. Dr. Deji is a political scientist with a PhD in political science, and this is where we relax to dissect politics and happenings in the polity. Do want to subscribe, turn on your notification button, catch up with my past videos, and of course, I have great, interesting videos coming your way. Till I see you again, always remember that I love you all sincerely.